Madridistas, welcome back to Madrid. Welcome back to the channel. Okay, you guys, a couple of things I wanted to tell you about. First of all, about the channel. I want to do these updates more often. And for those of you that have been following me for a while, you notice I don't make a lot of content. I typically just do post-match reviews. But, it kind of bothers me because there are a lot of updates that I'd love to give, and sometimes I don't do it just because I don't have time. And part of the reason is that the way I set up the traditional videos, I sit a bit further back, and I use a lot of pictures, I do all the editing, and it's just too time-consuming. So what I'm going to do is, if you guys don't mind a simpler format where you have to see my ugly mug a little closer, where I don't have all these fancy pictures and all this kind of production value, if you don't mind, then you'll be getting a lot more content, and I'll be able to make these videos a lot more often. So I hope that's okay with you, but I do want to bring you updates with more regularity. As I mentioned, you guys, I don't do this for a living. This is just my passion, my hobby. I'm an investment guy. I spend my day doing other stuff. But I do want to be able to bring you guys more content, so I'm just kind of changing the format a little bit. Okay, lots to discuss today, and I want to give you guys some color on exactly how extreme the double standard is in this league when it relates to Barca and Real Madrid. It is unbelievable, and I have to tell you guys about what was the #1 story all week in Spain last week, which is this Barca match in Miami against all the rules and conventions. But I need to tell you how insane it is that La Liga does nothing about this. And we need to talk about Vini. We need to talk about the double standard in the red cards and sanctions, etc., especially based on what we've seen in the last few matches. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that for now. Thanks for joining me, but lots to catch up on. I think some really interesting stuff that you guys need to be aware of. All right, let's get started. Welcome back. Okay, for those of you that don't live in Spain and maybe don't sort of hear all the noise and all the buzz locally, I want to tell you the biggest story over the weekend, and this is unbelievable. You guys need to stick with me because this is unbelievable. So, as you know, Barca is a club that in this league just does whatever it wants. It just literally does whatever it wants, and nothing. There are never any repercussions. They register players every year without proof of funding, in violation of financial fair play. They do it year after year, and everyone turns a blind eye. The press doesn't say anything, because they're all on the same side. It's unbelievable. But let's just put this into context. If you recall, at the beginning of the season, Real Madrid was going to play the first match against Osasuna at home. Now, because of the schedule, the calendar, Real Madrid would not have had the sort of standard 3 weeks for the squad to get ready in preseason, and FIFA has a guideline that all clubs should have a preparation period of at least 3 weeks. Well, Real Madrid didn't have the full 3 weeks, spoke to Osasuna and said, do you guys mind if we play, a little bit later because our team, hasn't had time to prepare? And Osasuna said, yeah, no problem. And you know who said no? La Liga. Tebas said no, because according to Tebas, that would adulterate the competition. So playing the exact same match on a different day, simply to preserve the physical integrity of the players, that would be considered favoritism and adulterating the competition. Okay? Just keep that in mind as I move on to the next thing. In the meantime, Barca, who, as you know, is trying to rebuild the Camp Nou in the most disastrous way, they're already a year behind schedule. They gave the contract to a Turkish company. All of the bidders for that contract were in a range of 5 to 10% in terms of their bid for the contract. Well, there was one company that was way, way, way below. I always find it very suspicious in a project auction like this, if somebody is that far below everyone else. Well, they chose the really cheap bid, and now they're having all sorts of problems. Anyway, so Barca knows that they can't play in the Camp Nou now. They can't make any money on ticket sales. Montjuïc obviously is smaller than the Camp Nou. So they came up with this fantastic idea. Well, they said, let's try to, since they're not making money in the Camp Nou, let's try to find other ways of making money. So what they have proposed, and this has now become reality, is that the Villarreal-Barca match is now going to be played in Miami. Now, this is something that Barca and Villarreal agreed to independently. They didn't ask anyone, they just did it. And they asked Tebas, and Tebas, of course, said yes, because Tebas says yes to whatever the hell Barca wants. So listen to this. The rest of the clubs all over Spain protested. They said, look, this is an adulteration of the competition because that match is supposed to be in Villarreal. It's supposed to be an away match in a very difficult stadium, La Cerámica, where Villarreal plays very well. Instead, you're going to go play not even in neutral territory because Miami is not neutral. Everybody in that Miami stadium is going to be wearing a Barca shirt, I guarantee you. Now, that is an obvious adulteration of the competition. That is supposed to be an away match to Villarreal. Now, this is a clear adulteration of the competition. And Real Madrid has expressed protest in a formal letter, but Tebas says it's okay. So moving the Real Madrid-Osasuna match a few days just so that our players don't get hurt and can be ready, that is adulterating the competition. But playing a game in Miami that is supposed to be an away match, but now you get to play in this neutral territory where everybody happens to be wearing your shirts, that does not adulterate the competition. The double standard is insane. And so what happened over the weekend is in every La Liga match, as soon as the starting whistle was blown, the players would kick the ball and for the first 15 seconds would stand still and not move. And that was the Players Association, the union of players, protesting against this match that's going to be played under circumstances that were not approved by the totality of the league. If you're going to do something like this, you need, the league belongs to all the clubs and they should all agree on this. But Tebas, of course, turns a blind eye and Barca is now going to play this match. And that, according to Tebas, that is okay. What is not okay is that Real Madrid plays Osasuna a few days later. That is a complete adulteration of the competition. But Barca playing in Miami against Villarreal in what should have been an away match in La Cerámica, that's okay. Okay, the double standard is ridiculous. And so there were protests, and to make it worse, on TV here, when they were showing the matches and the players did this protest, because Movistar, the TV company here that has the rights, is also in this Barca mafia, with Rodes, and anyway, because they're part of this mafia, they would actually zoom out and not show you. They wouldn't show you the players protesting. They would just zoom out and show a distant picture of the stadium, because they wanted to try to cover up the issue, cover up the protests. And then they were trying to explain it, oh, these are, peace protests. No, these are not peace protests. These are protests against Villarreal and Barca playing in Miami without permission and consensus of the rest of the league. But anyway, the double standard is insane. Now, all right, let's turn to another issue, which, it's just ridiculous. You guys will remember last year, Jude got a red card for saying F off to a ref who disallowed a goal that he scored in the last second, but of course it had to be disallowed. And Jude said that was a goal, F off. Now, we all know, if you're watching my channel, obviously you speak English, we all know that the word F, it can be used in different ways, and its vulgarity is relative, because it very much depends on how it's being used, because you can use it as an adverb, as a verb, as an adjective, So we all know that F off means, oh, come on, man. Like F off, every player in the Premier League says it about 6 times per match, and nothing happens, because F off just means, it's the equivalent in Spanish of vamos hombre, venga joder. Like it just means, come on, man. Are you kidding? But of course, the ref, who of course speaks perfect English, William fucking Shakespeare, gave Jude a red card, and it would be like me giving a red card to a Chinese player. How the hell do I know what he's saying? Well, so without understanding what Jude said, he gave him a red card. Okay, that's just to give you an idea. Now, let's compare Jude's treatment under those circumstances to what happened in the last Barca match, okay, that they won in the last minute, 2-1. Now, I think it was, against Girona. Now, let's think about this. In this match, Hansi Flick gets a red card. He is seen, at the end of the match, Rafinha is seen clearly saying, you son of a, to the ref, very clearly. It's visible, it's audible. Hansi Flick flicks off the ref 3 times. He doesn't do the American version of the birdie. He does the European version like this. He does it 3 times to the ref. All of this is caught on camera. And guess what happens to them? Nothing. You know what the ref did? He didn't even include it in his official report. So look at the double standard here. There is, by the way, Hansi Flick was not supposed to be near the pitch. When you get a red card, you have to go into the dressing room. Like, those are the rules. Well, no, these people do whatever the hell they want. He stays at the pitch level, and then at the end of the game, of the final whistle, does his 3, flicks to the ref, totally visible. All the cameras caught it. Everybody knows what he was directing it to. But what happens? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And this kind of, I was saying in my video yesterday that the refs are better this year, and it's true that in the Real Madrid matches they have been surprisingly fair. But this sort of undercurrent is still very much there, because Hansi Flick and Rafinha should have multiple game bans for what they did, because they did that to Jude, and Jude didn't do anything. He didn't say anything wrong. And yet these guys can do whatever they want, and absolutely nothing happens. And at this point, it's important to mention Vini, because the refs treated us normally, and we're so unaccustomed to this, because we spent 20 years with Barca getting every call, and every call going against Real Madrid. That when a call doesn't go against Real Madrid, everybody now is just completely shocked. And now, so the red card, especially the first one on Vini in the match against Getafe. Of course, the media and the whole sort of Barca propaganda machine are up in arms about the red card that was awarded for the foul on Vini. And excuse me, it was crystal clear. Vini was making a run. The ball was nowhere to be seen. The ball was nowhere near the area. And the defender, not only punches him in the face, but extends his foot to trip him. So you have a kick and a punch at the same time, when the ball is nowhere even near them, and a player is simply making a run. Now, when you're running at full speed and you get punched in the face and kicked in the shin, I'm sorry, this is a red card in pretty much every circumstance. But of course, because it was Vini who this was perpetrated on, therefore there must be something wrong. And of course, now the media, they're trying to blame Vini, that he provoked, that he felt. This kind of nonsense narrative is still there. So Vini is a player that you can kick, punch, spit, stomp on. Nothing ever happens. And when a ref finally does the right thing, oh my goodness, it's like the end of the world. You can see very clearly in the images, this is a red card. I'm really sorry. Or maybe you can debate that maybe it wasn't a red card. But the point is, you can certainly make a valid case for this being a red card. So even if you don't agree with it, but it's within the realm of the conceivable and the acceptable, but not for these people. These people are up in arms that somehow it's Vini's fault, and it's just extraordinary to me. They want to continue to make Vini, who is the victim, always has to be the perpetrator, according to these people. So it's his fault that he got punched. It's his fault that he got kicked in the shin, and it's his fault that the other player got a red card. It's just absolutely extraordinary. But anyway, listen, I just wanted to give you guys those updates. And I wanted to make you aware of all the controversy surrounding this Miami match, which is really not gone down well here at all on the part of all the other clubs have protested. Even the Barca players have said that they're against it. Even the Barca players froze during those 15 seconds of protest at the beginning of the match. Even the Barca players participated in that 15-second protest. And Frankie de Jong himself has spoken out about this match in Miami, saying that it's not fair to the fans of Villarreal. It's not fair to the competition. That was supposed to be an away match. It wasn't supposed to be played in a festive pro-Barca Miami stadium. But anyway, these are the things that's happening here. The level. The double standard is still there, and this corruption that bleeds across the federation, La Liga, the refs, into the media, it's still very much there, and it's hard to watch. But anyway, I just wanted to keep you guys posted, because that was really the biggest story the last few days here in Spain. So anyway, just wanted to pass that on. I'll be trying to make these updates more regularly, so I hope you enjoy them. But as always and forever, thanks for joining me, and as always, a la Madrid.